If I sound like I'm high, I'm not. Promise. I don't do drugs. Well, that's a lie. I actually did do a drug. It's called Benadryl. I broke out in hives for some strange reason and took some Benadryl, and I forgot it makes you want to just pass out wherever you stand. So if I'm a little bit sluggish or low energy, that's why. I guess that's not different from my normal demeanor anyway. So if you're an American, this slogan is going to be very familiar to you. And it says, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This slogan comes from none other than the beloved Geico, or the government employees insurance company, which I didn't even know it was an acronym. The place where their beloved gecko is their mascot. But that gecko was never actually supposed to be a staple part of the company. As a matter of fact, it just happened to be an after product because of the company name. It was founded in 1936 by Leo and Lillian Goodwin around the time of the Great Depression. Fast forward years later, and the Geico gecko was introduced in 1999. It was originally meant to be just a one-off funny skit so people could remember the company name, because Geico sounds similar to gecko, and it didn't become the main mascot and spokesperson until 2004. And just a year later, in 2005, the gecko was voted America's favorite advertising icon. The business grew pretty successfully, and he's become quite popular among the customers as well, thanks to his witty and personable character, his adorable appearance, and his random British accent.
Fancy a crisp?
Showing how advantageous it is for businesses to use cute animals as their mascots. And today, we're going to be talking about another cute green animal that's helped another company with this growth. Duolingo. Duolingo has been pretty popular and vocal recently, especially thanks to the whole TikTok ban situation where everyone was running to learn Chinese. And now apparently its beloved mascot died and then was resurrected. And under every comment section of their videos, you always see somebody saying, whoever the marketing team is, they need a raise. The marketing game is on point. So today I'm going to be analyzing those marketing tactics, touch on a little bit of consumer psychology, explain why I think it works so well, and also if they went too far. Duolingo was founded in 2009 by Louis von Ahn, a professor at Carnegie Mellon University. He also created the CAPTCHA "I'm not a bot" thing, so that's interesting. So he launched the beta version of Duolingo privately in November of 2011 and then went public with it in June 2012. And unlike Geico, where the gecko was introduced just on a whim, Duo, the name of Duolingo's mascot, has actually been with the company since its launch in 2012. Duo is a little green owl that has had many different looks before the one that we're used to that we have today. The OG original design actually had the word duo in his face, and this is how he looked. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I seen him, it did give me a little bit of a jump scare because I just, wasn't used to seeing him like that. But the more I look at it, the more it kind of reminds me of the Aztec art style. It's abstract looking and got these like geometric shapes. And I feel like that's pretty on brand, being that it is a language learning app. So naturally you're going to be learning about different cultures. So it looks pretty cool the longer that you look at it. The second design, however, it's interesting, I'm not gonna lie, if this duo was the duo that we had that everyone was making memes about, like harassing them to do their lessons, I would actually be terrified to use the app if this is what was giving me notifications. Then they moved on to a different design where he was more 2D and had a slender look to him, but a lot less threatening than the last one at least. And then finally, the most recent and the one that we see now, his design is very friendly and squishable. He's very round, which is great for selling merch and plushies, which of course is what they're doing. And if we wanted to touch on a little bit of color psychology, the owl is a bright green, almost like a lime green. Green often symbolizes growth and perseverance, which could be related to the aspect of learning a new language. But ironically and funnily enough, it also symbolizes safety and security, which is not an aspect of what the owl represents. I don't really know how much color psychology has to do with the marketing. In the Apple story where I found this information, some of the coworkers said they basically made it green because I believe the CEO hated the color green or something like that. Someone hated the color green and they made it green just to troll them. So I doubt this was like a conscious decision thinking about how psychologically it would affect people, but I just like color psychology. But speaking of Duo not making people feel safe and secure like the color green normally does, the meme of Duo being this psychopathic murderer and a stalker if you don't finish your lessons has obviously become a huge part of the brand. But the company didn't seem to start feeding into it until around 2019. Now this is me mainly going off of YouTube. I'm sure they post on all the other different social media platforms, but I don't really use those, so I'm just going to stick with YouTube, which is what I'm familiar with. growth. But this timeline is going to be based off of the YouTube videos and shorts that they have. So in the Apple story, it says that the team at Duolingo was very aware of all the memes that were being made about Duo, about all the reminders and the emails that would be sent. Like, got to the point where people were joking that Duo was just straight up harassing them because of the amount of emails that it would be sending. You didn't do your lessons, keep your streak. I got curious and took a stroll down memory lane and went to my email and searched up Duolingo because I do still have an account with them, I just don't really use it that much. But I went to go see the type of emails and reminders that I would get. And I did get quite a lot of them. I do remember constantly getting a bunch of emails in my notifications being like, hey, complete your lessons today. He would constantly give notifications about my Spanish learning and my Chinese classes as well. Yeah, that's right, losers. I was studying Chinese before it was cool. Before your little TikTok got banned and you want to learn Chinese so you were gonna go run to Little Red Book. Yeah, I was doing it before the trend. I wonder how many people are actually keeping up with those Chinese lessons, or they just don't care anymore now because TikTok is back. I actually need to get back to my Chinese lessons and stop playing around. So anyways, people made memes about this and the company ended up catching on, which is what urged them to make their first main acknowledgement of these memes. And they made a skit on YouTube for a product called Duolingo Push. This was in 2019, a day before April Fool's Day, so this was obviously supposed to be a joke. Basically, the whole skit was Duo will manifest himself and spawn in your area if you are ignoring his notifications to keep your streak. And then they continued this regime in 2022 with a lawyer skit. 2023 had this series on Peacock called Love Language. It's supposed to be like those reality dating shows or whatever. And then 2024 they had Duo on Ice. And it was around 2022 where they started utilizing YouTube Shorts. So it's clear that they picked up on the fact that there was a trend of these types of videos doing very well. I mean, it's just like anything. You find something that works and then you do it again. But the question is, why did it work so well, and how long would it work for? So when they started playing along with the memes and the jokes and stuff like that, it did really well for a few reasons. One, Gen Z tends to be very, very unserious. No one cares about anything anymore. Celebrities, teenagers, heck, even the White House. Did y'all see the official post that apparently the White House made around Valentine's Day? Yeah, this is going to be an interesting 4 years. People are outside filming TikToks in a hurricane, running to an app made by the CCP and joking about their information being stolen, literally making thirst traps and lookalike contests for an alleged suspected murderer. Can this become an issue in the future? Probably. I definitely think it's some mass coping strategy because we're all just traumatized at this point, or that we're just desensitized because of the trauma. But as much as I love myself a good dark humor joke, a good offensive joke, I definitely think there's some times where we maybe need to drop the memes and actually come back to the reality of the situation, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Gen Z doesn't really take things seriously, so they also like it when other people or other things also aren't that serious. When companies can laugh at themselves and be self-aware, it makes them more relatable and likable. Instead of getting all tense and upset about people saying that Duo was threatening, they ended up deciding to embody that character and play along. And people nowadays are really easy to please, I might add. Like, people always say everyone and everything for doing the smallest thing is iconic. Like, a celebrity could literally drink water and they go, oh my gosh, they're so iconic. It really doesn't take much to impress Gen Z. If you're a company that knows how to make a good joke, they'll be all over you. People like how they took a chill and fun route like the fans wanted in the first place. And that's another reason why it did so well, because they fed into the narrative that so many people already wanted. You know, when celebrities or certain influencers will feed into ships and like romantic relationships that their fans try to put them in? That's basically what's happening here. The fact is, people like to be right. We like to have things go our way. We like to have our desires validated. That's why people love making fanfics of their favorite stories. Sure, they liked the original thing, but the story they made in their brain, they think is even better. It had a certain vision that was different from the reality of the actual story or movie or whatever it was, so they decided to bring their version of the story to life. And that's essentially what Duolingo did. They just brought the fanfic to life. They let people have the exact outcome in the storyline that they've already envisioned in their heads, showing that they actually listen and respond to their fans and users, which is another reason why people like the company so much. The company is very good at speaking on a personal level with their videos and their posts or whatever. Normally, whenever companies try to be relatable, it just comes off as cringe or stereotypical for a lot of Gen Z. But Duolingo seems to actually know how to use the formats that Gen Z use in the right way. So that way it's both satirical and relatable. It ends up connecting them to the users so that they don't seem so corporate. I think nowadays, more than ever, People want authenticity. They want businesses to see them as people. They're tired of the constant pushing of overconsumption, the constant soulless advertising, tired of being seen as numbers on a screen. There was a Burger King ad that came out, I can't remember exactly when. It wasn't the normal ad that you see on TV with the splashing ingredients and the perfect looking burger. I mean, it did still look like a perfect burger, but what they ended up doing is showing a time lapse of the burger molding, basically showing it spoiling to show that it's real food. And weirdly, you think seeing food spoil and get bad as an advertisement would push people away from the food because like, ew, it's like moldy food. But it actually ended up being received really well. The company was basically trying to get rid of preservatives and use less of them in their food. People enjoyed it so much because the company finally listened. They finally recognized what we actually want, understanding that that is what their customers want the most. They want good and as healthy as it can get food. So they knew that and they listened. People just want connection, and sometimes businesses can lose that connection when getting lost in the numbers and the ones and zeros. Trying to market it really well can blind you from the fact that people just want authenticity. And of course, Duolingo is still marketing so that people can use their product. They are a business too at the end of the day. They even made a video poking fun at themselves for utilizing these silly marketing schemes for more money and downloads. At the end of the day, they still want to make money off of us, but at least when they do it, it doesn't feel so corporate. It doesn't look like the 1% looking down on all the peasants. It feels like just another internet user who posts stupid things on the internet, just like everyone else. This is what keeps people engaged and coming back for more, or at least as engaged as they can possibly keep them. Because this is still Gen Z that we're talking about after all. You know, the generation whose attention span is diminishing by the second, who has virtually no object permanence, especially when it comes to the internet. So even though Duolingo wants to keep a close connection with their fans, they still need an effective way to market to them so that they don't forget that they exist.
The death of Duolingo's mascot, Duo, has taken a new turn into a murder mystery. But let's get you caught up first. The language learning app announced that their cartoon owl mascot died yesterday.
The fact that a fictional green bird's death has made the news, and nothing that I ever do in my life will probably ever make the news. You know, it's things like these that just make me question, why are we here? So Duolingo has randomly announced that Duo, the mascot, has died. That I got hit by a Cybertruck, which I don't believe was just on a whim or a mistake. They chose that truck for a reason, and floats off into the gates of heaven. They ended up making silly shorts and stuff like they normally do. Ended up even making limited time merch of Duo and the other characters in a coffin. But the thing that I don't really understand though is why do this now? And it's so completely random. And of course, I know the obvious answer is money. Like, it's like, of course, you know, they do everything for money. That's what businesses do. But it still doesn't really make a huge difference in the development of their brand. Because the thing is, we all knew Duo was going to come back to life anyway. I mean, they only had one of three options. Keep Duo dead, which they were not about to do. 2, find a new mascot for their business, which also would not have ended well. If you've been keeping up with the movie industry and all the race swapping they've been doing, people don't like it when you mess with their favorite original characters. So then option 3 is, of course, to bring him back to life, which of course is what they did. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever a movie or an anime or a book or any type of media brings a character back to life, it always feels like such a coward move to me. Like you didn't actually want to commit to making the decision, but you still wanted the emotional roller coaster of your fans that came with it. It's rare when a character comes back to life and it feels justified to me, or that it actually went well. It just feels very cheap. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening with Duolingo right now, because they knew that they obviously couldn't milk this for that long. That's why this whole thing ran for like 2 weeks, and then they brought him back. At the end of the day, it was also they could feed their fans non-existent attention spans with more random Gen Z drama and have them run to the app. I think it just goes to show the lengths that people have to go nowadays in order to keep people's attention, even when it comes to products. It's getting to the point where even companies realize this. A quick YouTube short isn't enough to keep people's attention anymore. People have to step up the game in order to get people to care, even if that means killing off your main mascot. I don't know. To me, I just feel like it was kind of cheap. It's just a really quick cash grab, but I'm not really sure why they chose now to do it. And that type of thing is, you can only pull that type of stunt once. They can't do that again. So it's like, that's out of their deck. They can't use that playing card anymore. So what are they going to keep doing to try and get people to remember that Duolingo exists and get people back to the app, or get more people to use the app? Because I mean, you've already done like the most. You've literally killed off your character. I don't know how you can one up this. I don't know. I guess I just don't see a reason why they felt this was necessary to do, besides, of course, the quick cash, quick attention. But now you have to one yourself up in a way that doesn't seem cheap, like just a cash grab. At the end of the day, you've already created this really good bond with your fans. If they start seeing that you're just doing stuff just to get them to, buy all the merch out and stuff, it's gonna leave a bad taste in a lot of users' mouths. But I don't know. That's just me. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Do you guys use Duolingo? And if you do, were you shocked at this announcement of Duo being dead? Did this make you look at the company differently or feel a different way about it? Let me know all that in the comments down below. But as of today, that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.